Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. I would like to welcome you all in our webinar. We'll wait for 2 minutes for others to join. All questions will be answered in the Q&A session only. Request you to be mute all the time. Presentation will not be shared. Please do not ask for it. Webinar recording will be available on our YouTube channel. All right, so let's start the webinar. Let's see what's the agenda for today's webinar. The agenda for today is what and why, how of CCIE. What is the benefit of being a CCIE? Why Cisco introduced changes to CCIE certification programs? How will it enhance your career? What is CCIE collaboration version 3.0? Actual changes to the CCIE exam format and how Octa networks can help you prepare for your CCIE certification and in Q&A. All right. So now let's jump to what is CCIE? Technical certification offered by Cisco. Now, CCIE is offered by Cisco Systems, which is world's largest networking equipment manufacturer. CCIE is an expert level certification. It is also considered as PhD level of IT certification. Most respected, prestigious, and highest paid IT certification. CCIE is one of the most respected, reputed, prestigious, and highest paid IT certification in the world. Among the industry's most widely recognized and respected certifications, Cisco Expert certifications tell the world in no uncertain terms that you know what you are talking about. Reputation of a technical leader. The CCI community has established a reputation of leading the networking industry with in-depth technical knowledge and are deployed into the most technically challenging network assignments. Now, whoever is a CCIE can be a CCIE in different areas of expertise. It is currently divided into 6 different areas of expertise or tracks. They are enterprise infrastructure, enterprise wireless, data center, service provider, security, and collaboration. One may choose to pursue multiple CCI tracks in several different categories of Cisco technology. Now, the question is why to be a CCIE? And the number one point is remuneration. See, one of the surprising facts about the CCIE certified professionals is that the CCI experts are the highest paid IT professionals. It has consistently been at or near the top of the certifications with highest salaries. The demand for CCIE professionals is high, but the supply has fallen short over the years. In fact, CCI salary for a fresher is also quite good. Due to low supply, they are paid an excellent remuneration. Now, there are also international job opportunities. CCIE is accepted globally as the most prestigious networking certification in the industry. Having CCIE certification in any of the 6 tracks means that you have proven track record, mastered your skills in networking technology, and have in depth knowledge of your domain of networking. Exponential growth opportunities. Top IT companies require highly skilled CCI certified professionals for implementing, managing, operating, and troubleshooting their client networks. As of date, IT companies have multiple vacancies for the post of network engineer, network security engineer, IT administrators, principal solution architect, or even technical consultant, and many more, but they are unable to get the skilled professional. And you will obviously attract more recruiters. Converged, innovative, and highly secure networks are the requirement of every IT company in the world today. And thus, there is a high demand for the CCI professionals in networking industry. Due to shortage of needed applicants and fast developing next generation technology, the demand of CCIE is rising and attracts more recruiters. With CCIE, your career is secure, and that is for sure. The demand for CCIE certified professionals will not be fulfilled in the years to come. That's why the fear of recession is barely any concern for CCIE professionals. For companies like Orange, Entity, Dimension Data, TCS, Wipro, etc., implementing complex, innovative, and highly secure network is of immense value, as a downtime in the network for a short period can result in substantial losses. Hence, CCI professionals are of great significance and importance to the IT companies. Prestigious and credibility. Yes, passing a CCI examination is considered to be a very difficult task. The CCIE is the most difficult ID certification in the world, and becoming a CCIE makes you a member of an elite CCI club. Having an active CCI certification automatically comes with a lot of prestige. It not only commands respect and admiration from employers, but it also instills confidence and credibility among your customers. Clients start finding you reliable, especially if you are working as a consultant. Okay. Now, how to be a CCIE? Now, there is a 3-hour technology core exam. Okay. To give your CCIE lab exam, 8-hour lab exam, CCI collaboration, you have to clear your 3-hour technology core exam, which is MCQs, which is multiple choice questions. Okay. Now, why Cisco introduced changes to CCIE certification programs? Number one is outdated technology. Why would Cisco make such drastic changes to their certifications? To answer that, we need to look at how much the IT industry has changed in general. New technologies are being introduced at a rapid pace. Some believe that Cisco wanted to take a step back and make CCIE relevant to real world situations because the technology tested in previous or the expired CCI lab failed to catch up with the emerging technologies which are currently being used in enterprise network, because as we all know that the world is emerging towards the automation, but Cisco was lacking behind. End-to-end IT lifecycle, or you can say end-to-end network lifecycle. Cisco wanted to design CCI certifications to validate your end-to-end network lifecycle skills, from planning and design to operating and optimizing. In the earlier CCI certification, it tested your configuration, troubleshooting, and diagnostic skills. However, it missed the most critical part, which is design skills. Now, the industry expects from a CCI candidate to have a skills of designing. That's why Cisco has introduced the DDOO model. And what is DDOO model? We'll look at in the next slide. But as of now, let's come to the next point, which is maintain the program quality, relevance, and the value. Now, also CCIE is industry's most widely recognized and respected certifications. Cisco periodically updates and revises the expert level certification program, its testing tools and methodologies to ensure and maintain program quality, relevance, and value. Critics of network programmability and automation was not a part of CCIE program. Now, SDN, software defined networking, is widely accepted and deployed in many larger enterprise networks. But the previous CCIE failed to test your skills on software defined networking skills. That's why Cisco introduced automation and network programmability to CCIE exams for every track. DevNet certification. Now, to fully leverage the capabilities of the new software defined networking, they have introduced new DevNet certification, which provides software skills for network engineers and software developers who work with Cisco technologies. Now, they are not trying to turn network folks into developers, but they are certainly trying to make it easier for us to do our job. Okay, let's move on. Now, let's move on. How will it enhance your career? So, software defined networking, network programmability, and automation, like it says in the first point, are the new realities of the networking world. By adding these emerging technologies in CCIE Lab, Cisco is trying to strike a balance between networking and software skills. By default, a CCIE aspirant will have good enough knowledge of both the domains. In near future, there are going to be a huge demand for network engineers with software skills and software developers with networking skills, and that is the future demands of the network, if future demands of the marketplace. This new certification program is making sure that you will be ready to grab this opportunity when it comes knocking at your door. Now, in the previous slide, I had talked about DDOO model. Now let's talk about the whole 9 yards of DDOO. Now, DDOO, first of all, stands for design, deploy, operate, and optimize. So now let's first look at the first D, which is design. You will be able to understand different technologies and solutions. You will be able to translate customer requirements into solution. Deploy. Secondly, you will be able to implement network according to the design specifications, customer requirement, and restrictions. Operate and optimize. You will be able to monitor network health, network performance, configure the network to improve service quality, reduce disruptions, mitigate outages, maintain high availability, reliability, and even security, as well as diagnose the potential issues and adjust configurations to align to changing business goals and technical requirements. All these four things combine and make your DDOO model: design, deploy, operate, and optimize. All right. So now I have with me Sagar, who is CCIE in collaboration, and he'll be taking the technical part for the webinar. What are the actual changes in CCIE exam format, and what is CCIE collaboration version 3.0? Sagar?
Thank you, Sanchit. Hey guys, a very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. As Sanchit has already said, I'm Sagar, CCI collaboration instructor for Octa Networks. So let's start with what is CCI collaboration. The CCI collaboration is a certification for a collaboration architect or a UC architect to enhance a candidate's ability to plan, design, deploy, and operate collaboration solutions. This is an expert level certification ensuring that candidates have the right knowledge and experience in collaboration solutions integration and interoperation. It also includes configuration and troubleshooting within complex networks. A successful candidate achieved their certification prepared for the challenges of video, mobility, and presence, understanding their role as a foundation for collaboration best practices and strategies. Next slide, please, Sanchit. Okay. So Cisco has widely changed its certification program. Okay. So let's start with the prerequisite. So first, candidate needs to pass its first exam, that is CL core, that is 350801. And once candidate clears this exam, as you can see on the diagram, he has two options open for him. Either he can become a CCIE or a CCNP certified. To become a CCNP certified, after the CL core exam, he needs to clear any one of the concentrated exam. And once he clears that, will become a CCNP certified. While to become a CCNIE, he needs to clear the lab exam. Validity for the CCI certification will be 3 years. Now remember, it used to be 2 years and a 1 year suspension period. But now there is no such suspension or grace period. If you do not recertify your certificate in 3 years, it will become inactive. So let's move ahead, Sanchit, to the next slide. Okay. So lab exam. So let's talk about the changes in the lab exam. Now lab exam has always been a 8 hours practical lab. Okay. So now this 8 hours has been divided into two different parts, as you can see on the screen. Module 1, which is design section, which is based on web-based, and module 2, that is deploy, operate, and optimize, okay, which is an hands-on and web-based section. Now these modules are delivered in the same sequence and they cannot be changed. Now why Cisco came up with these changes? Since Cisco expects an expert level engineer should not be restricted as a core troubleshooter or implementer, but instead he is expected to plan, design, implement, troubleshoot, and optimize a network solution. And that's what this network life cycle tells us about. Apart from that, he should also be able to use some automation tools for a much better solution. Okay, and the last point says that most of your CCI collaboration version 3 topics are being heavily borrowed from your previous version. Okay, so let's move ahead now. Okay, so that's your exam structure. So let's start with design. A design is a fixed 3 hours module. In the design, at any point, if you finish the exam in less than 3 hours, you can definitely start with the next module. But the remaining or unused time won't be carried forwarded to the next module as it used to happen in the previous version. It will have a scenario-based question which will be focusing on LLD, that is low-level design. The question will have a storyline where you might be playing a role of a consultant for a company, or you will be provided with some resources, topology, and there might be some email conversation between you and a customer asking for some requirement. So you need to put the customer's requirement and Cisco best design practices all together and select the correct design approach to satisfy the customer's need. In this module, backward navigation is disabled, which means once you select the answer for any of the question, and if you move ahead, you are not allowed to go back and change the answer. This is all because, as I mentioned, it has a progressive storyline. This means as you move further, they might talk about the answer which you might have selected for some of your previous questions. Now the points value will be hidden over here, which means that they won't disclose the points for any of the questions. The reason could be that they have the partial markings for this module. In the design module, you can expect around 30 to 35 web-based questions, and you won't access to any of the physical devices in this module. Now module 2, which is DOO. This is the module where most of you guys might be familiar with. Well, deploy is your actual implementation of tasks on the basis of given requirements, while operate consists of troubleshooting and fixing the problems, and optimize is similar to the diagnostics as we have it in the previous version. This is a 5 hours module which will be based on hands-on lab and where you will get access to your actual devices. We also have web-based items over here, which is nothing but diagnostics. You won't have access to any of the devices for this web-based items. Now the backward navigation is enabled, and also the points for each task will be shown in this module. Now the important point is, in the previous version, we used to have a different topology for different modules. But over here, we'll be having a single topology, which will be carried out throughout your complete 8 hours lab. Okay, Sanchit, so please move ahead. Okay, so lab scoring. Now lab scoring, this has always been a confusion for plenty of people. So let's discuss the new lab scoring and the passing criteria for CCI lab exam. So a design module has been allocated with overall 37 points, while DOO has been allocated with 63 points. To pass the lab exam, you need to meet the minimum cut score in each of these modules. But the module cut score are not disclosed and could be any value between 0 to the given highest point value. A module cut score will be based on the difficulty level. But remember, there is an option to compensate for a slightly weaker performance in one of the modules. For example, let's say the minimum cut score is 50% in both the modules, and you managed to score around 65% in design, and you scored around 49 in deploy. Okay, so you are just lacking 1% in the deploy to meet the minimum requirement. Now, in such scenarios, just because in the design module you have already scored more than your minimum requirement, so you have an option. Using that, you can compensate the points which you are lacking in the deploy module to meet the minimum requirement. Okay. In case if you're not able to clear the exam, let me show you how Cisco will provide you the score report, and that's on the right side of the screen. Okay, in this case, a candidate managed to pass his design module, but he failed in DOO. And below are the scores on the basis of per blueprint domain. Now, remember the scores which are given below are not for just DOO module. Instead, it is for your overall performance in both the modules on the basis of per blueprint domain. Okay, Sanchit, next slide, please. Okay. So these are the modules for CCI collaboration version 3 blueprint and their respective weightage in percentage. Now, if you have a look, two domains, that is domain 3 and domain 5, which have the highest weightage compared to other domain. This means that these two domains are the most critical domains of your lab exam. Now, the percentage assigned to each domain is not module perspective. Instead, it is a weightage which has been allocated to your both the exam modules. For example, let's say your exam is for 100 points, after which 10 points are allocated to domain 1. So this 10 points will be divided in both the modules anyway around. So there could be a possibility that they might ask a question for 3 points in design while 7 points in DOO. So that's how the weightage has been allocated to this domains. Okay, so let's move to the next slide, Sanchit. Now let's discuss the topics of each domain that will be covered in the bootcamp. So domain 1 includes topics like SIP, where we would be covering the basics of SIP, media negotiation, renegotiation, mid-call signaling, and SIP headers and timers. DTMF relays, so DTMF types, that is in-band, out-of-band, will also be covered. Messaging protocols like XMPP, SIP, or Simple. Collaboration APIs include some basic provisioning on CUCM via AXL API and REST API for Cisco Meeting Server. Typically bundled with other tasks, which means task over here will be dependent on other domain. So if anything doesn't works in other domain, that can impact your points for this domain. Okay, next slide. In domain 2, we would cover topics like network services, which includes NTP, DHCP, DNS, and CTP. IP connectivity. So it's all about troubleshooting the layer 2 and layer 3 network issues. QoS tools for quality of services and congestion management. CAC. So in CAC, we will be covering call admission control on UCM, queue, and expressway. Certificate management, which is one of the most crucial part of the lab, will also be covered in the training. Okay, next slide. Domain 3 is the core and the heart of the lab exam. It includes topics like global dial plan on UCM, which consists of localization, globalization, GDPR, that is global dial plan replication, and local route group. SIP trunking, obviously for SIP communication between the applications. In multi-cluster UDS, we would be covering ILS and service discovery. Cube dial plan for PSTN call routing. Expressway dial plan, where we would explore zones, transforms, and search rules. Next slide. Okay, so domain 4 covers topics like endpoint registration for Jabber service discovery and MRA. User authentication and authorization like single sign-on and OAuth will also be covered. Okay, Sanchit, next slide, please. Domain 5, okay, so which also holds the majority of the points in the exam. And let's see what topics are covered over here. SIP normalization, where we would cover some basic Lua scripting and SIP profiles on the cube. In cube redundancy, we would be performing box-to-box redundancy. Under firewall traversal and expressway firewall traversal, we would cover traversal zones, SSH tunnels, and encryption interworking. MRA, that is mobile and remote access for the Jabber clients, which will be also part of our training. Okay, so next slide, please. Domain 6. Now, Domain 6 covers UCM media resources like Music on Hold and MTP. Cisco Meeting Server provisioning. Now, over here, we would be exploring all the CMS components, and we'll be doing some provisioning via API as well as via GUI. Cisco Meeting Server HA, that is for the scalable and resilient solution. Okay, so let's move ahead. Next slide, please. Domain 7, which covers topics like IMNP server and clients for presence redundancy. Cisco Unity Connection voicemail, where we will perform SIP as well as SCCP integration. Media recording covers co-space recordings for Cisco Meeting Server. And the last is UCCX integration and scripting, where we'll have some basic integration with call manager and some scripting scenarios. Okay, next slide, please. So this is a sample question for a design exam, where you are playing a role of a consultant for a customer. And this is an email which you have received from him. So let's see what he says. It says, from Sriram to a CCIE aspirant, that's you. And the subject is Kodak requirement. He says, hi, we have decided to migrate our telephony system to a centralized CUCM cluster deployed in our Mumbai headquarters. IP phones are deployed over 15 remote sites all over India. We have always over-provisioned our WAN links, and our CEO need to have the best voice quality between the sites. We would like to use the G729 codec for inter-site calls. Do let us know how we can proceed further with this design. Thanks. Okay. Now, we need to look for some important information in the email. So the first information is, it's a centralized cluster, which means whenever the remote site will make a call, the call will be carried out over the WAN link. The second point is, they have over-provisioned their WAN link, which means they do not have any bandwidth constraints. And the third important point is, CEO needs the best quality for inter-site calls. So let's see what is the question they are asking us. Would the chosen G729 codec meet the CEO's expectation? So now let's explore this. Now remember, the mean opinion scope for G729 codec is 3.7, which might result in a bad audio quality and delay, which is definitely does not meet your CEO's expectation. So definitely we would go with option that is no over here. Now, just because we have selected no over here, we'll have a next question that is dependent on it. So such questions are called as branching questions. Now let's see what our branching question is. What codec would meet the technical requirement? So let's explore all the 4 topics first, or options, I mean. ILBC. So ILBC provides good audio quality with less bandwidth. But remember, ILBC is not as widely supported by service provider as G711 and G729. So we cannot recommend ILBC for over the WAN calls. G729, as already discussed, has low mean opinion scope and bad audio quality, which does not meet our customers' requirement. G711 has the mean opinion scope of 4.1, which is really good, which means it provides the best audio quality, but it requires higher bandwidth compared to G729. But as per the email, bandwidth is never a constraint for our customer. So this option meets all our customer requirements. H.264 is a video codec, so it does not goes with our requirement. So the right answer over here is G711. So this is how the design question will be provided to you in the exam. I mean, this is a sample question. So let's go to the next slide. Okay. So this is a topology for our CCI collaboration bootcamp. We'll be doing total 2 mock labs during the training. In the first mock lab, we'll be covering all the major topics for single node. Okay. And in the second mock lab, we'll be focusing more on the redundancy of each of the applications and the collaboration APIs like AXLs and CMS REST API. Okay. So that's it from my side. So I'll ask Sanchit to take over from here.
Thank you. Thank you, Sagar. How Octa networks can help you prepare. So now you guys know what is CCIE, how to be a CCIE, what are the changes in CCIE collaboration. Now the question is how Octa networks can help you become a CCIE. Who are we? World's only Cisco training institute with 2x CCDEs as mentor, Hepta CCIE as master trainers. So in the world, there is Octa Networks is the only institute who have 2 CCDEs, Joaquin Fernandez and Arshad Dunna. World's only institute offering boot camp for all the CCIE certifications. More than 8 years of delivering quality and innovative training. World's largest Cisco labs with CCIE racks for all CCIE tracks. Whatever device you need to prepare for your CCIE collaboration or any CCIE certification, you just name the device and we'll have it. Whether it's physical, whether it's virtual, whatever device, whatever rack you need for your CCIE preparation, we'll have it. State of art infrastructure. Now, for this, we have digital whiteboards, we have smart TV with projectors, guest Wi Fi enabled for students, and many more things you will see when you will visit our center in Mumbai. And I would also recommend you all to visit our center in Mumbai. We have also trained more than 10K CCIE students, biggest pool of CCIE certifications. Whether it's CCI enterprise infrastructure, whether it's CCI collaboration, or any other CCIE track, all the trainers in their own track are CCIE certified. Our track record: 85% of students get placed without even appearing for the CCI lab, meaning whoever takes us the technology boot camps with us gains so much of technology which is needed for the industry. They just hire it directly from Octa Networks to the industry. 90% success ratio in the first attempt. Whoever has given the CCIE lab attempt get passes in the first attempt itself, and that is 90%. We have a track record of students enrolling for their first CCIE and go on to achieve multiple CCIEs. We have trained CCIEs in almost all serial number ranges like 20K, 30K, and so on. Unique distinction of having trained India's first CCIE security version 5.0, collaboration 2.0, wireless 3.1, data center version 2.1, service provider version 4.1. Whether you look at any of these certifications, in the previous version, the first candidate who got CCIE certified was from Octa Networks. And we still believe and we are still hoping to continue our success the same way we did in the previous version. Now we have 2 training offerings for CCIE collaboration. One is Zero to Hero, and that is for freshers like who have no hands-on experience and who has just come out of college. It will start from CCNA, CCNP, and then CCIE. And then we have CCIE collaboration version 3.0 bootcamp for experienced professionals who already have 5 to 10 years of industry experience. They can opt for CCIE collaboration bootcamp, which will go for 30 days. These are some key highlights for CCIE collaboration, guaranteed to run training, which means many of the institutes, what they do, they just wait for they just wait for the batch to have more than 10 students or 15 students. It's not like that in Octa networks. Whether it's one, whether it's two, if we have committed you a date, we'll start on that date for sure. Highly motivated, passionate, and experienced Cisco certified trainers. CCIE collab concepts, theoretical and practical on Cisco devices. Like I said in the previous slide, also, whatever device you need, whether it's virtual or physical, you just name it and we have it. 120 hours of classroom training with interactive whiteboard and projector. Convenient batch timings from early morning to late night, because we understand many of you have to look at the work, have to look at the family. So if you are not able to take the sessions in the night or in the morning, we can do the opposite. 24/7 access to the CCI lab equipment for students. For example, if you are taking a class in the morning and you don't have a time to practice your lab in the morning, you can schedule your lab session for the night, because we are feasible 24/7 round the clock. Pre-certification and post-certification support and guidance. If you want to know anything about CCIE collaboration version 3.0, we'll be here for you, whether it's pre or whether it's post. If you want to know the prerequisites, what are the prerequisites to get your CCIE collaboration version 3.0, and after certification, once your certification is done, now you want to know, will I get the job? How will I get the job? We'll help you in everything. We'll support you, we'll guide you in whatever best manner we can do. Students can attend classes till they get their doubts cleared. 24/7 access to trainers or mentors. Outstation students, visa guidance, accommodation, and local convenience. Students who are coming from outside India will guide you for everything: visa guidance, accommodation, and local traveling and everything, your food, convenience, everything. Okay, everything will be taken care by us. So now if you have any questions about the webinar or about the technical part, me and Sagar will be more than happy to answer your questions. You can drop your questions in the chat section on the Zoom, and I'll be reading one by one and I'll be answering them, all of it. Okay. So Gulshan is asking, will the training be conducted on real physical devices or virtual devices? And how many hours of rack access do we get? Your training will be conducted on real physical devices and also on virtual devices. Whatever device you need for your CCI collaboration, whether it's virtual or physical, we have all the devices for that. And how many hours of rack access you will get? You will get 120 hours of rack session. Okay. Uh, Raman is asking, are your trainers CCIE collaboration certified and who will be the trainer? Yes, our CCIE collaboration trainer is certified, and your trainer will be Sagar, who took the technical part in the webinar, and he is CCIE collab certified. Okay, another question. Amit is asking, I'm interested in your CCIE collaboration version 3.0 to Hero program. Can you help me with further details? Yes, we can. Please leave your email ID and your phone number in the chat section, and I'll forward that to my management team, and they'll surely reach out to you after this webinar. Okay, Anya is asking, isn't CCDE and design module the same? I have attempted CCDE once. I somehow feel the module looks familiar. Yes, if you have already given your CCDE exam, then you might see this as a similar design module, but you don't have to worry about anything, whether it's similar or anything. We have two CCDEs expert in our institute, Octa Networks, and they'll guide you with everything, and they'll let you know everything, each and everything you want to know about the design module. Okay, Surinder is asking, can you share the webinar recording and presentation? Yes and no. The webinar recording will be uploaded in the YouTube on our YouTube channel, and I'm sorry we cannot share our presentation. Sagar, there's a question for you.
Okay.
Suraj is asking, I have passed my CCIE collaboration written. Will I be
Mhm.
able to attempt the new CCIE collab lab?
Yeah, that depends upon when you have cleared your written exam. Okay, so once you clear your CCI written exam, you have an 18 months of duration during which you can attempt your exam. So even
Okay,
though if you have cleared your exam in the previous version, yes, even that is valid for you can attempt the lab for this version.
okay, okay. I think that would be clear, Suraj. All right, great. Okay, so Anish is asking, is this training on site only? As you would be aware, due to COVID, travel is restricted. Is there any way we can do this training online? Yes, we can do your training online. Of course, we can do in our Zoom sessions. We can take your session as an online session because we do understand due to the situation, and that is with everyone all over the world, the COVID is going. So, anything else you feel like adding or you feel like asking the questions? Anything, any question you want to ask? Okay, all right. I think we are clear with the questions now. Thank you so much for joining our webinar. I would thank again for each one of you for taking out your precious time and joining our webinar. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in our next webinar. Thank you. Thank you.